Hey gang, happy weekend, happy Saturday. How y'all doing? And
What up?
Yep. Today we are joined with Classy and Brandon and myself. Hope y'all have a great weekend, a start to the weekend, I guess. And let me make sure I close off all this other stuff.
Wait, Nick Jarrett, we can't talk about clowns on YouTube? I like clowns. Clowns are awesome.
What? The clowns are banned on YouTube?
I think he's talking about a specific clown.
Oh.
What's up, Dave? What's up? What's up, everyone? Alexander, Rick,
hi, everybody.
Nick, Rick. I got the guns out today, baby. Got the guns out.
Oh, look at that. I have the loose shirt.
Yeah. Smash the like button if you guys can. You know, if you guys smash it now, it'll go out to more people, get more people on the chat. You know how that works. So absolutely.
So let's see. We have, I think it's almost summer for everyone, but it's still snowing in Colorado, if you can believe it. Yeah, my family's going to Colorado Springs to attend a Air Force Academy graduation for a relative, and they're showing pictures and it's snowing. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was telling my wife to bring warm clothes. But isn't that amazing? We're almost in June.
That's weird. It'll even happen like that in Wisconsin. It'll be like, oh, it's June, and all of a sudden they'll get like 2 inches of snow, and then it melts off quick. I mean, it happened in Cleveland too, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, yep. I remember working at a car dealership and it being Memorial Day and snowing.
You never know what to expect. Out in California, it's either 90 or 70. It's like, oh my God, it's only 70. Oh my God, it's 90 today. That's about it.
Well, look at this, 92 degrees in North Carolina, and it's summer in Arizona, and it's like 75 out here in Orange County.
40 in Minnesota and 96 in Delaware. What's up, Delaware? That's where Jen went to school.
Delaware.
Jen's from, she's a fighting blue hen.
Blue hen, how did you
Delaware fighting blue hens. This song's pretty funny. I don't know how it goes, but she sings it and it's pretty funny.
You guys seeing The Edge of Tomorrow is coming out soon? Is that it?
What?
Edge of Tomorrow, 4K, just for you.
Oh God, that movie's so good.
I like it. Definitely.
I didn't know it wasn't on 4K. I have it. Like I buy it on Vudu. So I mean, I think it's 4K. I think it's 4K HDR and Dolby Vision, but it's streaming. You know.
Well, you know, everyone wants to know.
Maybe it's not.
What is it? They always wanted to know, when are the deals coming? And as you all know, the deals are coming for 2021 TVs. Let's forget 2022 TVs. They're all recently launched, overpriced. It doesn't matter how well they perform, other than you want to lock in the QD-OLED because you're afraid it might sell out and you're willing to pay the extra few $100 premium. Let's put that aside for a second and talk about the best deals out there. I think is going to be, quick list, the QN90A, the C1, G1, I don't know, but G1 is okay. It's going down in price as well. And the A80J, various sizes for the C1, 77-inch, 49-inch is pretty cool. So let me share what's happening real quick so you guys can see.
I told FOMO this, but Classy too. I'll tell you and everyone out there, I finally got my ankle out of the boot. I was playing basketball. I ran. I went on my bike today, and I played basketball all in one day. That's how good my ankle's feeling. Love it.
You're back.
I'm back.
So this, I think, is really cool. 85 inches, 2600. So last year, before Black Friday, this was the thing. Oh my gosh, the QN90A is 2600. This is so exciting. Well, it's 2600 again. So those of you who missed that deal in September, October, and you waited, here it is. This will be the first to sell out if you need an 85-inch TV. I think 2600 is that's a great price.
Look at that open box. $2,000 for an open box.
Yep. But now, what are your thoughts, Classy, on the $2,600 price range for 85-inch? Do you guys have any other TV in that price range that you want people to consider?
No, like the QN90B at 85 is really expensive right now.
Yeah, it's good, but
yeah,
it's tough. I can't. I'm excited for, like, it's a ways away, but people that are going to want to buy a Samsung around Black Friday, I think the QN90B, man, it's going to be a
yes.
I'll be excited. I'll be surprised if it doesn't sell out.
This time next year, QN90B will be just under 2600, right?
I might buy it.
You might buy it.
I want to get the 98.
You have the QN90B at 85 inches.
No, it's for a client. It's gone already.
Well, let's go down the technology, right? So among the tiers, the QN90A is what I consider the best of the 2021 non-OLED TVs, right? Now, as you all know, as you get up in size, dirty screen effect, panel lottery affects everyone. The Sony X95J had grid issues people complained about. The Samsung has dirty screen. It's just something you have to deal with. You're not going to get a perfect TV. So if you're okay with that, I think this is a phenomenal price. Now, going down the line here, let's see. Let's jump to the LGs, right? LG, I think their prices are dropping pretty well for sure. We're going to look. Let me check this one right here.
I thought we had how come Classies can't do the video? I don't.
Oh, because he's on audio avatar. That
Gotcha.
way, no, it's something that we put in the settings. Okay, the LG OLED. This thing, 1600 C1, the A80J is similar, right? They're going to be bouncing back and forth, but here's something to think about, though. 1600 is great right now. I've seen it drop even further if you buy at Best Buy or Costco. They'll throw in a gift card of a couple $100s, anywhere from $200 to $300. So you might be able to get this at around $1,200 between now and Prime Day. So this is why I say keep your eyes on either Best Buy or Costco for these kinds of gift cards. Now, the price will still say $1,600, but on the bottom somewhere I might say with a gift card of $300 or whatever, right? So that is how you get that extra few $100 savings. And I think the 65-inch C1 is a great TV, period. It's such a good price. And the A80J is similar price right now as well. So if you're debating what OLED to get, C9 is no longer available. C10 is no longer available, but the C1 is. And the C1 comes in 83 inches, 77 inches. The 77-inch is currently $2,600. I see that going down a bit further as well. So depending on your budget, let us know what you're looking at or what you're debating between.
What's the 77?
The 77 C1 is right now $2,600. Let me get that one up there real quick.
It's a pretty big jump.
It is. But it was at 21. The A80J was at $2,100 at one point because Costco was giving that $500 discount.
That's ridiculous.
Right. Or $500 Costco gift card. So is that 26 or 27 add 500? It was at 22? Like, oh man,
Yeah.
that's
That's
crazy.
insane.
Yep. And let's see, we have, hey, TechMed Rainer Richter. Always welcome, my friend. Hey, friends, how are you doing? I'm just waiting for a nice deal over here for a Samsung OLED 65-inch. And we know what OLED you're talking about. They only have one OLED right now, and that is the S95B. Hey, how much is it selling for? In Europe, TechMed, I know it's supposed to be a bit, I know that the Sony A95K is very expensive in Europe. So let us know. What are they selling these for?
I thought there was only $100 difference. I thought it was $3,400 for the Samsung and $3,500
is
for
it the
Sony.
Samsung that's too expensive? Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, interesting. It's crazy. But the way things are going, we might not see a Sony for a long time. I mean, they say July, but at this point, who knows, right?
July is already long. It seems like it's long. I guess it's only a month-ish, month and a week.
Or here's the
And
question for you guys: is as awesome as the QD-OLED may be for Sony, at what $4,000 for a 65-inch, would you consider the $4,500 for an LG OLED 83-inch for an extra $500? And I suspect it'll go closer to $4,000 as it did. Costco had the $500 gift card, brought it down to $4,000 just last month. What do you guys think? $4,000 is pretty good for an 83-inch, huh?
Yeah.
yeah, and depending on where you're shopping, I've been seeing 83 A90J for 41, 42.
Yeah. I mean, considering they came from 6 and 8,000, significantly less.
And here's a great question. Hey, Joel wants to know, 77-inch A80J or 85-inch QN90B, same price.
Tough call.
I'd go with a 77-inch A80J only because I have an OLED. I'm so used to the perfect blacks. I will notice the dim. Okay, I want specular highlights against perfect blacks, and the QN90A blacks are pretty good, but specular highlights are simply not there. I'm going to notice that. I know it's missing. Every time I see a specular highlight, I'll be asking myself, I know that's not the entire nit range there. I would feel like I'm missing out on the specular highlights. But Joel, if your last TV was 5 or 6 years old, though, the QN90 will still look phenomenal compared to that. If you have an OLED, you have to go with a 77-inch 80J. If you've never had an OLED, I'd go with an 85-inch QN90A. What are you guys thinking?
I mean, I went through this last year and I went with the A80J, and for me, it's no contest unless it's a sun-soaked room and you're watching during the day.
Okay.
That's what I would say too.
All right.
For sure.
For sure.
But if you're gonna watch, like, if you're just watching like football, or you're just basically watching cable content, the size and the QLED will probably be better. If you're just watching like hockey, sports, news, cable, just big TV. You probably don't need either one of those TVs, but
Yeah. No, this is an interesting comment. Ryan saying X95K, his first TV with full-array local dimming, and has nothing to compare the quality to when it comes to local dimming. And he has the X85J, which is it's the edge lit from last year. But here's something that you mentioned, Classy, and I remembered this, which was if a TV has bad blooming, you would prefer to have it edge lit anyway, because you were talking about the X90J. You didn't like some of the scenes where it's blooming. What are your thoughts here? Because Ryan has the X85J, slightly lifted blacks across the board, but there is no blooming. Do you think he will see an improvement with the X95K if he's never had full-array local dimming before?
I'm not the fan of the X85J. I never was. Like that one was not very good. I liked the 90J over the 85J, and at 42 inches, I'm trying to think, is the 85J even VA or is that IPS?
I think it's IPS for everything except the 85, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, 80J are, I'm sorry, not 80. Yeah,
the 80Js were IPS, but the 85, the X85J should be VA, but at the 42 inch, it might be IPS. I forget.
That's possible.
But I just finished editing my X95K review, and I would maybe hold off on buying that for now.
All right. And the good thing about Sony's is the X95K, because it's so new, there is no rush. The price it's too premium right now. It will definitely drop and drop significantly by Black Friday is my prediction. So if you are interested in the X95K, take a step back and relax. There is no rush into the X95K. The rush would be for 2021 TVs that may run out of stock. So that's something to think about. If you guys are buying a 2021 TV, like an 85-inch QN90A, okay, you might want to hurry it up a bit because it won't last through Prime Day for the larger QN90A, QN85A type TVs. The largest Samsungs tend to sell out pretty quick. That's the thing.
Ace followed up with the X85J is VA across the range, but the smaller 43-inch has cross-hatching.
All right. So. And Joel, I don't know. Did we answer that question? Was that super chat for that earlier question? I did not know, but hopefully.
Oh, lost FOMO.
Oh, did we? He'll be back. He'll be back. And he's back.
I'm like talking, and then I push the button, and like, wait, where did I go?
Yeah. Did you just kick yourself? You banned yourself from the chat?
I have this new rolling ball thing. It has all these buttons. I pushed the wrong button. Like, wait, did I do that? What happened?
Dude, I hate my Corsair. Like, I have a Corsair, what do you call it? Like mouse pad. It was so nice to start, but now every time I turn the computer on, it's got like a stupid firmware update, and so it doesn't work right until I go into the actual menu, and it's, oh my God, it's such a pain in the ass.
And this question is for you, our resident installer. Brandon, can you provide a link to a mount you would suggest for the 77 or 83-inch OLED? Nothing fancy, just sits flush that I can move right or left. You can't move it right or left if it's flush.
Well, he means, right? Like, I think he just means like long enough that you can move it a little, adjust maybe. But yeah, I mean, you can't, if he means sit flush and move left or right as in like turn it, that's a whole different thing. So a mount use, nothing fancy. So nothing fancy means flat. Yeah, you can just get something off Amazon. There's all kinds of stuff on Amazon. Just get a long 24-inch long plate with either one that tilts up and down a little or just flat. I typically there's a Sanus mount at Costco. It's called a tilt and extend. It has a little bit of turn, and that one sits very flat to the wall within like 2 inches. Very easy. It's like $80. But every store has a pretty flat one. Best Buy too. They have like a rocket fish mount or whatever. But on Amazon, I could provide a link, I guess. Let me see if I can find one here. I'll find the ultimate flat mount for them.
And this is one that I sure Classy and KG, we all get. S95B, the QD-OLED from Samsung, is way better for gaming than the LG C2. Like in brightness, I think it's way better for gaming in many things, not just brightness. Classy, how is the S95B better than C2?
Most people will definitely prefer the S95B in general for gaming. There are a few small drawbacks because the EOTF is so lifted. If you're in a very dark area of a game, very like atmospheric game, then those areas are brighter than they should be. You lose some of that feeling. But other than that, the gaming on S95B, most people would definitely prefer. It's definitely brighter, and it does push things a little bit more than it's supposed to be, but it's gaming, and that's fine for most people. And then SDR gaming gets way brighter.
And since you're on the horn, this is a great question for you, I believe, because you are ISF certified. Firmware Classy, I've heard there are calibration standards for SDR, but not for HDR. Why is this? And are calibration standards coming for HDR soon? I think that's quite the loaded question. What are your thoughts on this question, Classy?
There absolutely are standards for HDR. There's a certain special someone who likes to say that there's not, but there absolutely is. So that's just false information.
Okay, and there you go. Let's see, here we have a super chat. Thank you, Alan Abintrod. My LG OLED C6 red pixels are dying, making everyone have a green tint. What can I replace? Or if you're not watching Guardians of the Galaxy, what can I replace it with? LG took no responsibility for it. Well, okay, so you're in a C6. That's before they took pains to eliminate burn-ins. So yeah, definitely first generation. Okay, since you've had OLED and you're used to black levels, I'd say go get a C1 and go larger. So assuming your C6 is a 55-inch maybe, get a 65-inch C1, I think would be great. Now, if you're afraid of LG, like, you know what, forget them. Get a 77-inch A80J or a 65-inch A80J. Both of those will be better than the C6 in terms of motion and HDR brightness, but you can't go away from OLED. Or if you really want to hit high in the hog, the QD-OLED S95B. That's what I think you should get. But what about you guys? What do you think you should get from a C6?
I don't know, how bad does he hate LG now? So,
Right.
Where would I go for that? I mean, I would go one size larger in a Sony OLED.
There you go.
See,
yeah,
but then you're still getting the LG panel, so it's the same either way.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, at least I don't have LG written on the product.
So, that's true. if you want no LG at all, then you got to go.
You got to go with the Sony A95K that's not out yet,
or the
I don't know,
Samsung, right?
S95B.
Yeah.
Who knows? One of those two would be fine.
This is an interesting concept. So a lot of people argue that firmware can do a lot to change the reviews. And I'm not saying it doesn't, because I do know it does help blooming control a bit in some TVs and speculative highlights in others. Classy, what has been your experience with firmware updates as to improving a TV? Like, what is the most dramatic improvement you've ever seen on a firmware update?
Not one in particular, but we saw the QN90A improve, but it didn't improve it enough to fix the problems that it had. It took the QN90B to do that.
Yeah.
So I think there will be updates to help the X95K, but I don't think it's going to dramatically change it into a different TV.
My experience is TCL and Hisense dramatically improves with firmware updates, and TCL specifically, their first 8 series mini-LED, oh boy, a totally different TV by the time they got their firmware updates. And the 6 series, well, last year, 6 series mini-LED wasn't working too well. At the start, they had to keep it off the shelves for a while as they fixed the firmware update. But not all TVs will dramatically improved. So that's something that you will never know. Like the Q90R recently got eARC, right? For many people, that's a dramatic improvement. And for others, like, what? I don't even use eARC. What do I care? So definitely ask yourself, what improvement are you looking for with the X95K? And if you're looking for better blooming control, I don't know that Sony's ever had a firmware update that improved their blooming control. It may improve other things like the actual software, the internal apps, stuff like that, but I don't know. So let us know what you're thinking about the X95K, Adam. Thank you, Samuel Goel. Haven't seen you in a while, my friend. You all are going beast mode with all the streams that are coming out lately. Well, since it is a super chat, I assume that's not a complaint. Yeah, we get lonely and we're sitting around, who can we go out and talk to? So we put on a live stream and hope someone shows up. Thanks for that, buddy. Here we go. Oh, and our good friend TechMed Rainer Richter is back. Brandon, S95B, 3,200 euro in Germany now. Actually, that's not bad. It's always including taxes over here. So yeah, if it includes taxes, that's actually less expensive than what we're paying, right? We're paying 3,000 plus tax. So yeah, that's a good price. It's the TV to get as far as MSRP is concerned. Then that's pretty impressive. And Dartman wants to share that his firmware updates on his TCL massive fixes because he had massive problems with the first generation 825, 65-inch mini LED, in medium and lower local dimming. Yes, so that I've heard a lot of local dimming issues. And my Hisense, I had motion fixed on, I think it was the H9 something way back when. But these, I see it from the TCLs of the world. I haven't. Now, I think, well, obviously with a Sony, you get the X900H, you finally get VRR somewhat, and then the X90J got VRR, so those are massive for many gamers out there, right? So yeah, we consider those as improvements. Bob Dylan, oh right, love your music. X80J, 75-inch, $2,000 versus a 80J. It's like two completely different TVs. 77-inch, 5,500, only SDR, never HDR.
$5,500 in Australia, is that, or what is it?
I think so. And you're paying double for the A80J. Hey, if this is your budget, get the A80J because an SDR, the Sony, even though it's an OLED and it does great with HDR, it's just a phenomenal TV. SDR or HDR, and it looks great. Colors are there. It's a great TV, period. It does HDR well, but it does SDR better than the X80J. And if you could afford twice the price, I'd go with the A80J. And the 77-inch is a very good panel for the A80J last year, better than the 55 and 65-inch sizes. So yeah, definitely I vote A80J. It has nothing to do with SDR or HDR. It's just OLED. A80J is such a good TV for everyone who watches HDR or SDR.
For sure.
For sure. Hey guys, thanks, Jack. I'm curious if anyone has used the Home Depot heavy-duty TV box that comes with a cushion, and if it works for the moving TVs. That's a good question. I know it's not stripping, but you go for it, Brandon, because I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, I use it all the time. It's a good way. Like if people are moving out of state or whatever, that's what I do. I'll go and grab it for them, bring it. I get a bunch of bubble wrap. I bubble wrap the TV up. Then I put those corners on that come in those boxes and put it in the box, and we tape the crap out of it. And then they can put it in a U-Haul, and it's pretty bulletproof for traveling. If you're just moving it, it's even easier. That's definitely going to be good enough.
Okay.
For sure.
Here's a great deal, and I think I know what you guys are going to say, but I still got to put up the question because it's worth revisiting. Paul has a chance to buy a 75-inch Sony X95K for under $2,200 or a Samsung 65-inch QN90B for $2,200. So same price, but different sizes. Gaming on Xbox Series X, PS5, lots of cable TV, Netflix, Disney, YouTube. Which one? Okay, so I know I see gaming and I see Sony LCD TV and I say, run for the hills. You got to get the Samsung. But Classy is a real gamer. And I know you also game. What are you guys thinking between the smaller QN90B or the largest Sony X95K?
I never like to suggest the smaller TV, but I have to if you're gaming. Like the X95K is worse than other Sony LCDs with gaming.
That's saying something. Thank you for that. Yeah, I saw your stream, Classy. It was painful. Hey, Nicholas Jarrett. Oh, it wasn't that the stream was painful. It was the X95K gaming that was painful. Just in case people were wondering.
Yeah, it makes you want to throw up in your mouth a little bit.
Hey, Nicholas. So he had the H9G. The firmware update made it worse. So this is actually another point that many people say, and I say this too. Don't do any firmware updates until reviewers, you know, who have the TV or ratings, right? And then they do the firmware update and then ask them, hey, did it make your TV worse or better? Then you go ahead and do the update. There is no reason to rush into the update at all. Let the others guinea pig this update. So your update made the red ghosting even worse. Nicholas, that's terrible. Hey, speaking of ratings, is it still happening? Are we going to see ratings next week, Brandon?
Yeah, on Friday.
What is the word?
Yeah, next Friday. Oh, yeah. Next Friday at 4 o'clock. Is it? Oh, wait, what is it?
5 o'clock, I think.
5 o'clock Eastern.
5 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock, or 2 o'clock,
2 o'clock
Pacific time. We're going to have ratings on live stream to talk, well, reviews. Like, what can they do better to make their TV reviews more useful for you, right? Because they're doing a great job now, but obviously they want to up their game. And we talked about what they can do to up their game. So I have some suggestions. I suggest everyone show up with their suggestions, and they're going to listen because we'll sit there and we'll talk and we'll have fun. It's not often we get such, well, no, they are the true OG of the TV review world. So I'm very excited to have them on for sure. So yeah, if you guys can make it next Friday, you're not doing anything on Memorial Day or you're driving, come on in, listen to the live stream, have fun. Definitely. And hey, we have this wonderful super chat from Spillage Village. Thank you. Have you guys seen the new OLED manufacturing process, eLeap? 2 to 3 times more peak brightness, better efficiency, lower currents, better aperture ratios. It's a big deal. So Spillage, this is so early in the development. So the announcement came from the tooling supplier, the company that actually developed this. They haven't used it anywhere else outside of their own, whatever it is they do, right? So will LG adopt this? Will Samsung adopt this? I honestly don't know. This is the promise they have. LG Display is going to have to review this as well as Samsung. So if they review it and it does deliver those promised features, promised improvements, I expect to see that in the next, I don't know about next year, because this requires major retooling. Because it's a completely different process how they manufacture OLED TVs. These things don't get implemented overnight. They're going to have to find an actual tooling, a supplier of these specific, whatever it is they need to do, plus have the chemicals adopted to this process. Do they have enough of these? So it's a great question, but I honestly think not next year, but maybe we're 2 years away. Maybe in 2 years we'll see it, but I could be wrong, right? Like next year, we're going to see suddenly that MLA, the meta lens array, micro lens array, suddenly 3% peak specular highlights on an LGW OLED 8K TV was demonstrated last week at ISE. So I'm like, wow, a little lens improved specular highlights to 2,000 nits at 3%. Now, obviously, we don't know what that really means. There was no measurements. They were just saying that this is 3,000 nits, 2-3% window. If we can get that to a 4K TV in 2 years, that's an improvement. So between what you said, Spillage Village, and this micro lens array, and Samsung could also use the same micro lens array, we're going to have huge improvements across the board for anyone using these kind of OLEDs, QD-OLEDs. So yeah, I'm definitely excited. Okay.
Sorry, okay, here we go.
Here we go. This is a good question. What do you expect from the A90K? I expect it to be like the A90J, but slightly less bright, or rather the A80K, but with Master Series stuff, better audio. It's the same processor. It's the same LG display panel. They're not doing anything different. I honestly don't know what to expect beyond a A90J without the heatsink. Classy, what do you expect from the A90K? And we're talking the
Well,
Sony 2022 OLED TV Master Series, 43-inch, 48-inch.
yeah, the 42s and 48s, they on the LG side, only 116 nits full field, so their high APL scenes are dimmer. The question is, will Sony stick to around that, or will they lift it up a little bit? So that's like the only real difference I can see versus the LG side. But
as we know, Sony never lifts the brightness ever. So
they did on the A80J with the WBE panels, though. That's the
on
only
the 77-inch,
hope.
right?
Yeah, they didn't restrict it.
So rather, it's not they lifted the A80J 77-inch, but they suppressed the 55 and 65. But yeah, Sony is never known to be brighter than LG. G2 has a heatsink brighter than a Sony A90J with a heatsink. Speaking of Sony OLEDs and others, Bob has this question: 77-inch A80J or C2 or QN90B, all within the same price range. I'm worried the A80J is too dim. And this is an excellent question. So 77-inch A80J, the 77-inch C2 will likely be pushed harder than the A80J, but you get to go into settings and disable the automatic brightness limiter, right, Classy? And you cannot do that with the A80J, right? So they could have a little
the
bit
ASBL.
The ASBL, right? So you can get a bit more, or the brightness stays consistent. It doesn't dim down. The QN90B obviously will be brighter, but unless you're watching sports and you're watching a dynamic mode, if you're watching accurate movie content, the brightness will all be the same, actually, in my opinion. C2, QN90B, and QN90B, well, actually, I haven't seen the QN90B Classy. This is for you. You've seen the C2 and the QN90B. What would you recommend? All around 75, 77-inch size.
That's going to depend on your preference for OLED versus LCD, but they're both very good. So, I mean, if you like action movies with high APL scenes to be like more daylight looking, then that's what the QN90B does really well. But if you like those dark atmospheric scenes to have no lifted shadows or anything like that, then that's what the C2 does better.
And we all know we do not like the current Tizen. So if you're used to WebOS or Google TV, the QN90B Tizen may not make you happy. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And DSE on average on an OLED is better than on a non-OLED, just on average. LCD TVs just tend not to have as good of uniformity overall. Doesn't mean your QN90B will be worse, just something to keep in mind. It's just a numbers game for them. Abby Prato asks, hey guys, I'm up for a new TV. Should I just go for the Sony A80J or should I wait for the new XR A90K? I definitely want the 77-inch. Mostly watch movies and stream from my Fire Stick. What should I buy? Help. Get the A80J. It's discounted. The A80K is not worth the 2022 premium just because it's new, especially in the 77-inch size. I don't think you're going to lose out much going with the A80K over the A80J, considering the price difference right now. So look out for between now and Prime Day. It's going to drop maybe another couple hundred. It's a really good price. So, and you're not missing out. How about you guys? What do you think?
Me personally, I would take the A80J even at the same price now, knowing that the A80K has that semi-gloss screen at 77
So is it confirmed? Yep. It's confirmed.
You can easily tell from Brian's last video on it. Like the reflections are way more diffused than the C2 sitting next to it. So it's got that. It's not matte. It's not semi-matte. It's semi-gloss. But if you're in a really bright room, then that's a benefit.
Yeah,
I'm not in a bright room. So
there you go. So Abby, if you're in a bright room with a touch of glare, semi-gloss / matte does help diffuse the glare. If you're in a light-controlled room, then definitely the A80K will look like it's a bit punchier, slightly better contrast because the glass is glossy. Like the A90J gloss, no matte at all, because they assume you're buying this A90J, you're going to be in a light-controlled room. So yeah, depending on your viewing environment, keep that in mind. And let's see here. And something for those of you considering the A95K, no, I'm sorry, X95K. Not many people know it's significantly heavier than last year's TV. So if that's an issue, now many people don't care, but if you're used to TVs getting lighter and lighter, this year's X95K jumped up weight because of the heat sink and whatever magic that Sony is doing on these TVs. It's definitely like 20 pounds heavier. It's pretty substantial. So keep that in mind. Wait, Classy, your 75-inch was like 100 pounds.
Yep, with over 40 pounds of box.
With a 40-pound box, right.
Yeah, repacking it was a puzzle.
What do you like? Do you like the UB820 so far? So you got the Panasonic. I love my Panasonic UB820. How do you like it?
Yeah, I got it. I like it. I like the tone mapping feature. Still playing around with it. The only thing is, I wish that it was faster. Like putting in a disc and turning it on and stuff is a little slow.
Yeah. And they're never gonna upgrade it. That's it. They just make that, and it is what it is. Hey, yay rock, Corey Hawkins. Hey guys, got my C2. Absolutely love it. I feel it's a decent upgrade over my C10. Hey, let us know. So we always say OLEDs are similar. Obviously, you've had the C10 forever. So you are looking at the subtle differences that are important to you. What are those subtle differences? That is an upgrade over your C10, because other C10 owners want to know, and they might consider upgrading to a C2.
Did I lose you guys? I thought I lost you for a second.
And he's going to back on the questions here.
What's everybody doing on a Saturday? I want to know what everyone's doing in the comments.
They're taking a week off early for Memorial Day, right? Starts today.
I wanted to. I was thinking about taking the weekend off next weekend, but I forgot about that ratings interview. That's the only thing I have. And my son has
Friday. Yeah, you could right afterwards. You can disappear.
Yeah, but you know how it is driving to like Vegas or Palm Springs on like Friday afternoon on a holiday is like nightmare.
Well, even if you arrive, let's say you fly in, no problem. It's going to be so crowded. You're going to wait in line for everything.
Really? You think it'd be that busy in Vegas? Or
I think so.
Yeah.
I think people are just the finals will still be going on, right? So you get a lot of betting happening for sure.
Well, I could if we go. We could go Thursday night, and then I could already be there for the ratings interview. Then I could just chill in the hotel room while I'm doing it.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, recommend getting an A90K 83-inch. Is it going to be bright enough compared to my KS9500 65-inch? Worried it will look too dim and bad sports. Okay, so movies, not a problem. Sports, how bright do you watch your sports? Because I know some people, they put it in sport mode and it's actually pretty bright. And I think the KS9500 has like a sport mode or whatever. If the KS9500 in sports is super bright, I don't think the A90J can match it in terms of APL. So I mean, you have to get another Samsung if you want your sports to look as bright. A90J is not going to look as bright in its mode that's comparable to the KS9500. But you watch sports, a lot of sports. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I think it's just, I would say for why here, that it's a whole different experience. Like, I mean, I had a 65-inch KS8000, and yes, the A80J is not as bright, but you're getting a TV that's 20 inches bigger and is far better. And when you watch it with movies or sports, like if you watch it with movies, it looks cool. It's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. TV's awesome. So when you go back to watching sports, it's bright enough is what I would say. I would think that you'd have a hard time once you get an A90J 83-inch in your house. You're gonna have a hard time taking it back. But if you were to, I think the only thing that would be comparable is like an 85-inch QN90B or QN900B maybe, but that 83-inch TV is amazing. So, I mean, and the price is half of what it used to be. So, or, somewhere around there. So it's an awesome TV. And again, for movies, it's better. Yeah,
it's way better. And also you add the extra 20 inches. Let's say it's slightly dimmer, 20 inches larger. It feels like it's bright enough is another thing. Perceptually, it feels brighter. So definitely.
Yeah, I watch a lot of sports. It's bright enough is what I would say. I don't ever have an issue where I think the TV looks too dim ever, in my living room.
Yeah, those KS TVs, they were really, really bright, but they had very bad contrast.
That's right. Yeah, so maybe the OLED contrast makes up the difference, right?
I mean, that screen will look like dark blue. Once he watches it on the OLED, it'll be like, you go back to the KS95, it's like, it looks like dark blue. It doesn't even look black.
And for Douglas, hey guys, Sony A90S or A90K? So obviously use case. If you plan to game on it at all, the A90S, I don't believe will get gets the VRR update. I don't believe it has the XR chip to get the VRR
It's
update.
not even 120.
Yeah, so you're not going to get gaming. So if gaming is at all important to you, like you do anything, get the A90K. Now, if you're just watching SDR, streaming, whatever, I'm from the A9S. If it's your first OLED, save some money, get the A9S. Is the A90K, other than gaming, maybe probably slightly brighter? What are your thoughts on the A9S versus A90K use case?
Yeah, it's pretty much just going to be the difference of the older panel and its restrictions to the new panel. It's a big price difference.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it didn't do 4K 120. It doesn't have HDMI 2.1.
Yeah, so gamer, don't touch it. But if you're just watching, if you're streaming, Netflix, A9S is fine. You'll love it. But if you're doing a bit more, so let us know what your use case is. And here we go. Chilling out. We're chilling out.
Yeah.
UK. I'm on a business trip. Oh, that's nice. Go to the UK for a business trip.
Everyone's making fun of me because they're like, we're watching you, dude. That's what we're doing on a Saturday. But I meant, like, what else are you doing? Like,
what are you doing? I'm watching you.
Like, I'm sitting here. I'm thinking about there's some basketball coming on in a bit. We're going to go get my son some basketball shoes. Then we're going to go eat some dinner. And then we're going to go to a drive-in to watch the multiverse movie.
I'm not going to spoil it, but on a drive-in would be fun.
Yeah, drive-in. We got it's cool because, hey, Class, you like this. The Tesla has Dolby Atmos. We open the trunk and then the speakers fire down on us.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Because, you know, the trunk goes up and then you get 2 overhead speakers and then you can hear it from the other. So the kids are laying in the back of the car watching it. It's not really Dolby Atmos, but it's pretty funny.
And so this is an interesting question. Reggie asked, hey, FOMO, does the A95K have a heat sink? So here's the thing, Reggie, you have to understand. When you all hear heat sink, I know you're thinking, oh, it's going to be brighter because Panasonic OLEDs with the heat sink is brighter. LG G2 with the heatsink is brighter, and even the Sony A90J with the heatsink is brighter a little bit than the A80J. But early reports, the A95K with the heatsink, not necessarily brighter than the S95B without a heatsink. So, but that's the early reports. If they go in there, they fix it, and they make it brighter, okay, but don't count on it. Assume the A95K with a heatsink. What the heatsink will do is probably give it more durability, but it's not going to push the limits of the QD-OLED. So ask yourself, Reggie, what do you want from the heatsink? Let us know. Want it to last longer or what? Hey, KG, welcome to the show. Hi, KG.
What's going on, everybody?
Is it pronounced KG or KG?
That's KG, just like KG, just my initials.
Hey, what are you doing, man? What are you doing this weekend? Anything fun today, tomorrow?
Yeah, today we got a cool little S95B G2 shootout.
Okay.
Comparison, yeah.
So you have the G2 now?
Yeah, it's right behind me.
How do you,
right there.
Not to throw out a spoiler, but if they were the same price, they are the same price. If the G2 is $500 cheaper, which would you get?
I don't know.
You can tell why on your stream, but I'm just asking you straight up. Yes, which would you get if the G2 is $500 cheaper?
For people, I would say it really just depends on your budget. Like,
I'm talking about you.
Yeah, well, for me, I would just get the S95B. Like, but
so even $500 cheaper, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
How about 1,000?
1,000. I'd probably get the G2 in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I was afraid I had to go down. What if I gave it to you for free and beat you on the head?
Well, so here's the thing, right? Like, I still think that it's just a leap in technology, and the G2 is just like an improvement on technology, you know? So that's the difference for me.
All right, everyone. I love viewing distance questions. 55-inch TV. 4'2" viewing distance. That actually is kind of close.
4'2"? I want to know what they measured with. Like, and did they like? What if they just lean back a little bit? Then it's like 4'6".
My arm is like just under 3 feet. I don't know, 55. I think it's a little close. I'd be more comfortable with a 48, maybe. What do you guys think? 55-inch, 4'2" viewing distance. I
mean, I'm maybe 3.5 feet from a 48 right now. It's a little, bigger than, like, I'm not watching anything. I use it as a monitor. So it's a little bit different being able to do this as a monitor. Right. You don't want to do this watching TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm about I'm about 1.5 feet from a 48-inch right now. So
What,
yeah,
dude?
hey, it works.
So this is why you're always moving your head like this.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because it's like this big old monitor just right here.
You know, in about 2 years, we're gonna see a KG with a neck brace. What happened? Well, you know, workers' comp. I'm gonna wear this now.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. See,
You're
so
gonna
there's
sue
a
YouTube.
diversity.
You're gonna sue Google.
Right. That's all your fault, YouTube.
Actually,
But-
yeah, maybe just LG.
And also, what's the resolution, right? If you're using it as a PC, you could up it to 1080p, get larger icons or whatever. But yeah, what are you watching? More Fedzy? What are you doing with that? Is it a PC use, productivity, gaming, whatever it is? I think it definitely depends on what you do with it. If you're watching movies, I think it's fine. Because as long as you're not turning your head every time things move around, that gets tiring fast. But if you could just sit and just watch the scene without moving your head, sure.
I think from my eyes to the bedroom TV where I'm gonna have the 65-inch S95B, that's about the distance I'll be. So yeah, I'm sure it's not too bad.
Well, here's a good question. I don't know this because I haven't explored it, but did they get rid of their extended 5-year protection plan? You guys know it's down to 2. Okay, so 2 years is automatic when you are a Total Tech member like I am, because I buy way too much stuff from Best Buy, so it's worth it for me. However, I don't know if they got rid of the additional extended warranty that you could buy. You guys know anything about that?
As far as I know, it's still there.
Still there?
Yeah, I think
So-
so.
I mean, they're going
I
to
don't-
take your money. Believe me. If you're going to pay for it, they'll take your money.
I don't think it's there because I was looking for it
Oh, really?
when I was doing the G2 video because they have the 5-year warranty thing, and I was looking to see how much a C2 with a 5-year warranty would be to kind of comp it. And I didn't see it. I only saw the 2-year option. So
You know
I think
what?
what they do is they do the 2-year, and then they'll ask you if you want to renew it at the end of the 2 years.
But does renewing it put the TV on another 2-year cycle, or that's it? That TV doesn't get another 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I,
think
thought
it
it was
does.
just
I
that
think
2
it. I
years.
think it's a
don't
cycle. I think it renews it.
Well, if it renews it, heck, man. Because if you're going to be a Total Tech member anyway, like again, I'm not encouraged. If you guys don't use Total Tech, if you don't have a lot of like electronic installs and stuff, I do a lot of installs or repairs. It just got way too much happening. I use it to its fullest advantage. But if you're only getting it to get the warranty, that's different. So yeah, make sure you get Total Tech, actually use it because their installs are actually pretty reasonable. For me, like I'll have them come in and start hanging speakers and Atmos at $50 per speaker. I pay them $100, get 2 speakers up, I'm done. I do not want to deal with a ladder, this and that. You know, I'll go have lunch and then they'll be done when I come back. I'd rather do that. But that's something for you guys to consider. Like I had them install my Nest cameras. So they ran the wires inside, they connected everything. I don't want to be climbing up there, right? Let them do it.
Yeah.
$2 per camera.
Yeah. So I'm just looking, and being a Total Tech member, it doesn't give you the option to look at anything else. It just says that you already have it for 2 years. Like there's no other option. So maybe if you aren't a Total Tech member, then you might be able to, but it won't show me.
And
Yeah, the tech thing is it's great. I have like my camera, lenses, TVs,
yep.
and everything's covered under that. I have we got a GoPro, I got like a watch, you know, there's all this stuff and everything's covered. Even like now it has like I have the Apple Care for the watch. I got it from my editor, like, and he's got like Apple Care 2-year protection on it. So it's like, you know, and all that stuff can go bad within 2 years. So it's got benefit to it.
My Sony Alpha 1 went bad 3 days after the 1-year warranty, and Sony gave me a grace period because it was literally 3 days like, you know, this overheating thing is driving me nuts. And so, you know, I shipped it, whatever. But if I got it at Best Buy, it wouldn't have been a problem at all. And those things are expensive to fix. Hey, did I just see Chana was in the house?
Oh,
hey, Chana,
yeah.
Hey, Techno Dad.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So with the Total Tech, have you guys seen like they're pulling some sort of shenanigans with the TVs? Like I noticed the 55-inch C2 went up to $2,000 on BestBuy.com. And I don't know if that's like a temporary thing they're doing or what. But it was for that TV, and then you get the Total Tech price, and that lowers it down to the regular $17.99 price that.
Okay, I'm looking at the 55-inch C. You're talking about C2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Oh, okay, I'm looking at the C1.
It might have been a price glitch, but
Yeah, well, right now the problem is their prices are just so screwed up all over because a lot of the stuff is either not in stock, not ready. Like a 65 G2 keeps going on sale for $3,000 when it's not available to buy. So like they keep doing these sales on TVs that they can't even sell, and then as soon as it comes in stock, they remove the sale price. So I just, when it comes to that, it's just all over the place.
Sneaky, huh?
It feels like they're setting up some like some kind of shenanigans.
Well, you know
like,
what's
behind the
crazy
scenes. I
is
don't know.
like, so Robert and some other retailers are selling A80Ks now, right? The Sony A80K. Best Buy doesn't even list it. You can't.
They only list the 55.
Yeah, on Sony's website.
I don't even see the 55. Let me see.
You have to dig for it. Like you
Oh, you
search
see-
A80K, you gotta keep scrolling down to find it.
Oh, here we go. Oh no, X95K. Yeah, I'm.
Mhm. Sony's
Okay, I see it
website
now.
says it's delayed to
It's $2,000. Oh,
June 20th.
dude. They raised the starting price of the A80K. Remember, the rewards was cheaper. This is unexpected. It was actually, I thought it was going to be under like 1,800 or something. So, yeah, inflation at its best. Hey, Shango, thank you for that super chat. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm considering going a dedicated home theater. Yes, for my sound. To feel I'm going down a rabbit hole on cost. Yes, I've been there, my friend. How much do you think I'd be looking at for wiring, rears, and sides? Looking for wiring, because are you talking about just the cost of wiring, rear, and sides? Brandon, you charge for this. What is the going rate for having you crawl around to wire rears and sides?
Dude, you're going down a rabbit hole because it is a rabbit hole. I mean, you can't even qualify this question without like spending 10 minutes talking to him. So it's like I have to know, is there, if we're like talking about, internal to the drywall, you need to know, is it got plywood over it? Is it drywall plywood? Is there like lath plaster boards on the side? Is there fire blocks? There's all kinds of, are you going to have an attic over it, or is there another floor above you? It's just like, you basically are, when the installers get there to do it, you go down rabbit holes trying to figure out how to run the wiring. So you can't really, it's pretty tough, Shango, to give you answers for that, because I mean, you could send me some questions, maybe Instagram or something, but I couldn't. You'd have to, do some more wiring. I think the easiest way to wire is typically in the ceiling. So in ceilings is easier, but yeah, it's not, I can't give him much more than that. Just
in my opinion, I just get a big rug or run the little wire channels along the sides of the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it is like, absolutely, do what you can. Like a lot of time, if there's carpet, I'll pull up the carpet and I'll run it around the outside of the carpet, and then we'll put the carpet back down, That's anything you can do to avoid cutting the walls, because if you cut in the walls, it's just like all kinds of questions.
Yeah. No, all my wires run on top of my walls. I just paint my walls black. The wires are black. There you go. I'm done.
Another good way is just run it up. And, you can run it inside the wall, go up, and then put crown molding around. It's like, it's a good opportunity to get crown molding, because crown molding installation, and then just bury the wires inside the crown molding. It's like you're getting kind of one of those for free.
I love the crown molding idea. That's absolutely correct. That's what my guy did. Yeah. Hey, this is a good question. I think you guys can answer this one really well. A90J 83 inches cheaper than the C2 at the same size. Unless you're a serious gamer, is the Sony still a better TV, even though it's a year older tech? Is that crazy?
It's not. It's the same panel. All the 83s have the same panel.
So what are you guys thinking? Let's say it's the same. Let's say he can get the A90J 83 inch for cheaper than the C2. Yep. Which would you guys choose?
If you're not worried about gaming, then the A90.
Yeah. Me too.
Same.
Now, if it was the G2 as the other option, then it would be different.
Yes.
I got that right behind me right there. The A90J. Looks small behind me. Deep room.
What are all these people throwing their 65-inch TVs out the window, man? The only saving grace is a 77-inch, and there's no S95B to make you second guess. So let me get caught.
Yeah, CJ is going back and forth a lot of stuff, and he wants to go 77, and just tell him you're gonna have to go G2, like, to get that experience you're looking for.
I think the G2 is a phenomenal TV, by the way. It's such a good TV. 77-inch G2 would be my choice if I was going 77-inch. I mean, it's a flagship. You're like what you pay for.
You can see, like, my camera is like the G2 is pretty much clipping out the same as my lamp is. Like it's really bright.
Mm-hmm. Here you go. You need a Matt. Welcome, Matt. By the way, Ninjushin did calibrate my G2, so message Ninjushin if you want your G2 calibrated. Waria, thank you for the super chat. My C7 has image retention. Yes, C7 is known to do that. And burn it after 5 years. Wow, that lasted longer than some other people. How much longer before a modern OLED would get to the same state? See, this is a good question, but I don't think we can answer that because the modern OLED, if you're thinking the C9 as the modern OLED, we're going to have to wait a few more years. I've heard that it's been pretty good. I watch CNBC and other news a lot. Okay. That's actually a very good question. I normally recommend people, if you're watching ESPN, CNBC, where you really have that persistent and bright. What do you guys think? You guys are OLED fans. He's watching CNBC, ESPN, or whatever, right? The news, he watches a lot of news. You got a ticker. It's bright. He can't
Get a G1 or G2 for the 5-year warranty, and
there you go.
Plan on 5 years.
Excellent answer. So save money, get the G1, you get the 5-year warranty, and then on year 4, 11 months, look at it.
Hook it up to a car battery.
Yeah. And keep in mind, like other OLEDs probably won't degrade as fast as the C7 did with that, because after the C7, they made a lot of changes to the OLED in regards to the logos and
pixel. Did they even have pixel shift and all that kind of stuff? Or
nope.
I think they even changed
C7.
They even changed the whole entire pixel structure.
Yeah.
Like so
the red pixel is what used to burn in on those, and that's changed a lot. So it's far less. Well, I wouldn't say likely, but it would take a whole lot more time to happen. And then there's all these other implementations of like the logo dimming and ASBL and this and that, whatever, that you may or may not turn off.
And Boria, you need to check. I just realized you're in the UK, pounds. You got to check to see if there's a 5-year in Europe or in the UK. This is, I know for sure the USA G1 and G2 has the 5 years. Do you guys know if outside of the US they're offering the 5 years?
I thought it was US and UK, but I don't know. I don't think it was anywhere else.
Yeah, check Boria. It'll be very clear. I'll call your retailer, hey, 5-year warranty, and it's part of the price. You're not paying extra. Definitely worth it to get the G1 just for that. But yeah, good question.
Yeah, I got to remember that. Like, because I always say it has a 5-year warranty, but I got to put like a disclaimer at the bottom or something. Because I do have other people that watch from.
You're going to get some angry guys from Latvia hunting you down. Dude.
Are there not Costco's there? Or that's not from Costco. It's actually LG specific or what? Which is just an LG thing?
Yeah, it's just an LG. Like, as long as it's a authorized retailer.
And I had to put this up. Crown molding, brilliant. Yeah, my Best Buy guys did exactly that. Oh, you got crown molding. Excellent. Everything disappeared in the crown molding. So yeah, that's
typically try to go up. Like the easiest way is to go like up by your receiver in the wall, up a stud bay inside the wall, and then pop it out. You take the crown molding off and make a hole behind it. You can make like a 2-inch hole, pull the wires out, run them where you need to, and then put the crown molding back up as long as you don't pinch, staple the wire back down.
I would love to address this question, pink diamonds, because I have spoken at length to Robert Zone about this. So have you reached out to Valley Electronics regarding the poor performance of the Sony X95K? They were promising more. Okay, so you're conflating the poor performance with only one aspect. So first, we know Sony isn't a good gaming TV. Poor gaming performance, it is what it is, right? And the blooming, we're going to address specifically the blooming and raised blacks in the black bar, or possibly some scenes worse than the QN90A. In the context of all of that, where blooming is, Sony was very clear in explaining this, which is their focus is to make sure they capture every nit of color available. And on their LCD TVs, in order to do that, they will not aggressively fight blooming because it will crush some of that color detail. And so to compare, right? So I took them on that proposed performance. And so what I did was take the X95K and I took the QN90A. And it's true in some scenes in The Greatest Showman where you have certain lighting conditions, there is more color in those specular highlights than the QN90A. So what I did was went to the QN90A, took local dimming to low. Don't take it to standard because standard is a whole different thing. You go from high local dimming to low. Now, suddenly the two TVs actually look very similar. So what Sony did is QN90A in local dimming low, that's its most accurate mode. It provides all the color, all the shadow detail that Sony has, except now its blooming and lifted blacks are worse than the Sony. So here's the problem. Very few people watch the Samsung local dimming in low, and then they pull up the Sony. This will be a huge improvement, right? They watch the Samsung QN90A and 90B with local dimming set to high, willing to give up some of those perfect shadow color gradients in order to get rid of any the bloomings or lifted blacks. Sony cannot do that. So I wish Sony had that extra setting that the Samsung has. Samsung has local dimming low, local dimming high. Sony only has one, local dimming, and every other setting is a variation of that. There is no super aggressive get rid of blacks at all costs, and Sony is very clear they will not do that. They will not get rid of the blooming at all costs. They will preserve shadow gradient. Now, this is their position. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm not saying their execution is great, but this is why the Sony looks at it does. And they will say, if you don't like lifted blacks, you don't like blooming, get an OLED. That's what the OLED's for. So their LCD TVs are not intended to compete with OLED in the blacks. It's intended to give you full color accuracy with the compromise that you will get slightly lifted blacks in the black bar, and you will never get black crushing. You will always get the shadow detail, but you may suffer some blooming as well. And that's the compromise you have to accept when you get the X95K or the X95J or any Sony LCD TV. Now, knowing that, you can enter into the Sony LCD TVs and not complain because that's what they're promising on the movie watching side. Gaming is a whole other matter. I know that Classy has examined the gaming performance and it appears not to be as good. So that part, yes, that is definitely poor performance on Sony's part.
Yeah, my biggest problem, well, one, I didn't see slightly lifted black bars. I saw severely lifted black bars. But the main thing is, even in something like this, just general scene contrast is low compared to other options in its price range. That's my biggest problem with it.
And it comes down to price. So that's the last part, is if the X95K was what, half the price, instead of $2,800 it was $1,700. Okay, there's something there, but $2,800, man, can't do it.
I did the 75, so nearly $4,000, and it's the worst looking $4,000 TV I've ever seen.
Can't do it. Yeah, nearly 4,000. You get a 77-inch any OLED, right? C1, C2, whatever. At 4,000, you can get any OLED, and it'd still be rockstar. Hey, thank you, Captain Baloo. Sounds like a character from an animation of some sort, for the super chat. Just wanted to say thank you, and Brian, sharing impressions and knowledge. I purchased an 83-inch A90J. Congratulations. Now my heart is bleeding because now I have to stop watching your content and enjoy my TV. Okay, just know we love the A90J. Brandon loves it. I still have the A90J. I love it. We just like to review other things because that's what we do. But the A90J is such a solid TV. And now that it's getting discounted, it continues to be a great TV at a better price. I don't think anyone has disliked the A90J, unlike the X95K. A90J, solid TV. And at 83 inches, your other choices, very different. So yeah, congratulations. Enjoy your TV.
Yeah, if you guys hit the like button real quick, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I think we missed a couple super chats above too.
Oh yeah. Can you find it? Because sometimes I'm wandering around and I skip.
Okay, they're just up a little higher. They're the green ones here. I'll just do it here.
There we go. Hey, Jesse, thank you for the super chat. Another European coming from a plasma. I can't get used to my LG C1's motion blur. Yes, you'll never get used to it. Will the X95K superior BFI give me back my plasma-like motion? Okay, I personally have not tested the superior BFI. What are your thoughts, Classy, on this superior BFI? I don't think he's ever going to get that plasma motion, right, guys?
I played SDR game with BFI for a little bit, and it was fine. Almost no flicker. Flicker wasn't a problem. And if you crank up the peak brightness or peak luminance with it on, it's still plenty bright. In movie TV content, though, I had absolutely no problems with motion with all the stuff at min on the X95K. That's one of its strengths, is the motion is very smooth, that you don't get the stutter. There's nothing to complain about with the motion. However, I haven't looked at a plasma in since like 2015, so I kind of forget how plasma motion looked.
It's been a while, I know. It's funny, when I started reviewing TVs, that was also the month I just gave my plasma Kuro away to my parents, so I never got to compare it with anything. But they loved it until it broke, and I gave them the TCL. But yeah, I heard plasma motion is the way to go.
I kind of think that like the Samsung, with its inability to completely turn everything off, is kind of like maybe what you'd like. I don't know. I know a lot of people that have had plasmas end up really liking OLEDs, but that it's just, I think it's the instant response that they're just not used to, being so quick. But I think like the QN90B would be something that I might recommend, just because it has, it just sometimes when you're watching things, it looks a little smoother, but it doesn't have that like soap opera effect necessarily. But I know, Classy, you didn't love that it just couldn't be completely turned off, right? So it's kind of like depends on what you like.
Yeah, if you're sensitive to soap opera, to avoid certain TVs. This is an interesting question, Adam, because, well, I don't think the Z9K will be much better, and I'm assuming much better than the X95K. It's the same processing. It's just 8K, right? So the Z9K, in theory and on paper, is supposed to be much better because its peak specular highlights are so much brighter. Its APL is supposed to be so much brighter. And so it's bringing that range higher up, and so it's supposed to give you that bigger impact in a bright room. Now, whether it will do that is the other matter, because I know last year the Z9J is definitely a big jump in brightness over the X95J, but it had its blooming issues, right? But this year the Z9K has much more dimming zones. So that's another thing to consider. The Z9K has significantly more dimming zones at the 75 and 85 inch. If you combine that with a better panel and a lot of brightness, will it be better? I can't even predict this. Who knows, Sony? What do you guys think? How much better the Z9K do you think than the X95K?
I imagine it's just going to continue Sony's trend of going brighter, but not doing anything about
lifting the blacks.
Yeah.
It'll be color accurate and brighter. How's that, right?
Yeah, the X95K is very accurate. On paper, it's amazing.
Hey, Herb. Hey, guys, the Samsung S95B 66 inch or the LG C277.
That must be a European model.
For about the same money. About the same money. They're so close. I'd go with the 77 inch unless sitting distance 10 feet. Yeah, you got to go 77.
Hell yeah, dude.
10 feet. Yeah, 77. You have to do it.
I think it's just like we should just put a sign up. Definitely take the larger. If it's an OLED, QD-OLED. I think it's so funny because we get ahead of our conversations. And we're like, oh, we're going to, now all of a sudden we're like immediately after we see how good QD-OLED, we want 77 and 83 inch TVs. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's what it is. Because now we're sitting there thinking like 65 versus traditional OLED 77. It's tough. Yep.
This is a great comment, Berea, and I wanted to follow up. So ratings, yes, it's starting a whole new burn-in testing of all the latest OLEDs, right? But it's not going to help you make a decision.
Yeah,
You're not
in 5 years.
At least 2 years in, maybe you'll see something. So if you're willing to wait 2 years before you get an OLED, then definitely. But the results will not happen anytime soon.
Add to the list of questions for them when they do that test. Are they going to turn them off every 6 to 8 hours so that they get a compensation cycle in? Because that's going to be the most important.
Yeah, I think they were doing them like 5 hours a day or something. I can't remember what they were doing.
5 hours, they then turn it off and then turn it back on.
I can't remember. I remember seeing 5 hours of something,
Yeah, and remember, it's Class, you bring up a great point. They're still taking suggestions. So they're preparing it. It will happen, but anything that you guys suggest, if it makes sense, they'll include it. So yeah, take into account the compensation cycle and make sure that every number of hours be reasonable here and let it do its thing. Turn it off, turn it back on, whatever it is. And then firmware updates, oftentimes firmware updates specifically address and help with burn-ins. So you got to make sure you're on the latest firmware update, like most people would be on, right? So yeah, those are really good points.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna look to get an OLED and you're worried about burning, that's the G2. Just like that puts you in the G2 category, in my opinion. So you might as well just get a G2 at that point instead of waiting.
We were talking BFI earlier. I don't know much about the size of BFI, but Don mentioned something. I hear this a lot. So the new OLEDs are only 60 hertz BFI instead of 120 hertz from last year. But then a lot of people saying, it doesn't make a big difference anyway. What are your thoughts on the BFI being 60 hertz and not 120? I mean, is it matter? Is it improvement, or did they walk this back?
I don't know. I can't even put it on. So I
put
that on and immediately I want to I'm tripping. Like I can't, no matter what level it is. It does not. I've always hated anything that flickers. Even I can see flicker immediately. So I can't deal with that. But I don't know anything about it either. So go ahead.
Yeah, there's very few instances where that's going to matter. Like Fortnite is SDR at 120 FPS. So that's like the prime example where somebody could want it, and it's not there now. But other than that, the other issue has to do with if you're watching SDR TV at 24 hertz, it doesn't align now. So there's that, but I don't know many people who use it so much for TV. It's more, at least from my audience, it's mostly has to do with gaming. And really the only time I would use it is the Nintendo Switch anyway, which is 60 hertz. And so it's fine for that.
So the biggest thing I've heard why people complain about it is since you want to have your Xbox set at 120 hertz delivery all the time to output, you can't use BFI unless you switch to 60 hertz now. And so that throws off some people because they used to play side scrollers, things like that in there. So that's the biggest complaints I've heard so far from the lack of BFI and 120 hertz now.
So BFI originally was for everyone, right? Movie watchers, but it feels like BFI is now a niche for gamers, right? Is that how you guys see it?
Yeah, it's the number of people who use it definitely is pretty small.
Yeah.
But that said, it still is something that shouldn't have gone away. And on AVS forum, there's a workaround that people have come up with to re-enable it at 120 hertz. And so that was just yesterday, I think, that was put up.
Okay.
So, I don't see a reason why LG couldn't put that back in with a firmware update.
Interesting.
Yep. And this goes, and this is so ridiculous. I'm going to have to rant. What is up with LG's A1? I mean, everyone who's here considering LG OLED, wait for the C1 or the C2. The difference in savings, sometimes none, like right here, but the A1 just serves no purpose in the lineup other than to fool people into clicking and buying an OLED because it's just it's just so bad. It's dim. It's got 60 hertz panel. I mean, I just don't get it. Its existence is questionable. And if you guys are considering U6G, I had it. I did not like it at all. It has no motion processing. I mean, it's fixed motion. Its tone mapping is terrible. The U8G, the U7G is better than the U6G, I think, and I think its tone mapping is better than the U8G, but the U8G gets super bright. The U6G, better to get the TCL5 series if you're looking to save some money. So definitely do not consider the U6G. There are better options for that price. And hey, Shango, thank you for the super chat. I was shocked. I went to several best. Did I miss anything?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. I was shocked when I went to several Best Buys and saw they didn't have the S95B in the premium spot. Rather, on the side of the wall. Like we said, right? Any reason why they're not showing it off more? Yes, Shango, there's not enough of them to sell. Normally, when they put something on the premium wall, right, they want to sell a lot of it because they're paying a lot. They're paying Best Buy a lot of money for the display presence. That means there's a huge margin attached. The S95B, number one, there's not a huge margin on it, I don't believe. I mean, they're making money, but I believe they're selling at a thinner margin just to get it out there. We're the guinea pigs for it. And number two, there's not a lot of them. So they're going to put all this money into selling it. It's all gone. Like, wait, that's it? how much money are we going to make on that, right? Whereas the other TVs, they have so much inventory, it's worth the investment to pay Best Buy to have them on display and sell them all year long. That's my theory. Let me know if that makes sense. But yeah, the S95B is not making them enough money because there's not enough of them. So
Well,
what
about?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, what if they just didn't communicate with Best Buy that they're going to even have it, and they just didn't have a plan in the beginning of the year of where to put it? So now they're just like, okay, what area in Best Buy can we put this TV? And then it's over there, like that could be another issue.
Yeah. It could be marketing had their whole plan laid out, everything's ready to go, and the last minute, hey, you're going to be selling the S95B. Okay, but we're already done with our marketing spend. Absolutely, that makes sense to me too.
The staging is up to the manufacturers mostly, like how it's all put together. And so I think your theory, FOMO, is pretty spot on. Like they're probably trying to get it away from the QLEDs so that they can sell more QLEDs,
Huge
so I wouldn't be surprised if they put it next to the LG OLEDs or like close to it, because that's what they want people to look at compared to it.
Stick it to them.
Yeah, I would imagine that's something like they're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's also location dependent too.
Hey, Sean,
like on both sides.
Yeah, tell us, is it next to the LG OLED? Like the only Samsung there is this one TV. Let us know. That would be cool if it is. And then we can go out and say, hey man, Samsung is very smart. They know how to market their TVs against the other guys for sure. Hey Adam, thanks for that super chat. Thank you guys. Does it even make sense buying a mini LED now that QD-OLEDs are getting bigger in 2 or 3 years? Mini LEDs are supposed to be a lot cheaper, but they're not. And that's what disappointed me, because I expected mini LEDs to be the budget TV. The fact that they're still so expensive, I rarely recommend a mini LED if there's a similar OLED size for that price. It just doesn't make sense to me, because there's so many issues with mini LED. You have, gaming response times is not the same. You have VRR, and then you have to shut down the flow rate local dimming. There's just so many moving parts. It's inefficient. There's a very specific use case, but I think that use case is disappearing as both WOLED and QD-OLEDs get brighter and brighter. Because remember, WOLED is going to get brighter next year as well. So yeah, mini LEDs better get a lot cheaper. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like I can see reasons for like QN90B to go for that, even in the same size. If you are like I said earlier, if you're really into like action blockbuster superhero movies with bright outdoor scenes, QN90B does those really well.
Yeah, I really think that the QN90B has like squeaked its way into that right next to WRGB OLED, like for people
really
to consider
nice
it. It's so
like
good. So like if you're thinking about A80K or C2 this year, like you should think about the QN90B also. Like unless you absolutely hate LCDs for whatever reason, like the quality that you're getting, and you're getting very close to OLED level blacks now, and the contrast is just really good this year. Like I think Classy and I agree on this. Like the QN90B improved so much from the QN90A.
I'm getting it on Monday. I cannot wait to look at it. You guys have got me so excited about it, because I know I was supposed to get the QN90B, but well, first of all, it's too expensive for our audience. And the number of people that can't get a QN90B, I think it's going to be a lot more. So yeah, we'll see. I cannot wait to get it against QN90A, and I'm very excited. Hey,
Classy, that looks like there's real leopards in the background. Oh, now they're having sex. All right, fair enough.
I love
That was funny. Sorry about that.
Our
I was like, oh, it's like hugging its kid. Oh, never mind. That's pretty funny.
That's funny.
It looks so realistic, and then all of a sudden they started humping. That's weird. That's
hey,
very realistic.
AJ412 for that super chat. Is there a difference in quality between the Shield Pro and Apple TV 4K? What streamer do you guys recommend? Oh boy, this is so I'll just take this first. I don't have a Shield. It's Shield is for like, you love to tweak stuff, so I don't have time. I do hear great things about Shield Pro. I am definitely an Apple TV fan. It's part of it's just easier for me. So what about you guys? What streamers do you prefer? Shield Pro? Is there a quality difference between the two?
As long as you get the same connection, the device itself shouldn't have much impact. Nothing noticeable visually. other than something like the Shield that offers that AI upscaling if you turn that on. But if you don't use that, then there shouldn't really be any difference visually. It just comes down to how fast they are, the features they offer, the formats they support, things like that.
Yeah, I really like Apple TV. I think that I just like the interface, and it connects with everything that I have that is like Apple related and stuff. And I love the way that it curates the homepage to you. That's something that I've gotten really used to. So it keeps me watching the shows that I'm watching, so I don't have to look for them again and be like, oh, what was I watching? I forgot. So that is really good for the Apple TV. And I know a lot of people who like to force that to turn the match content off. Like a lot of people like to watch SDR and that. I used to. There's a couple of shows that I still do, but I've noticed some issues where it would like lift the background way too much from the foreground, and it would seem like the background was just way brighter. And so like I turn that off sometimes. If I see
I don't
that.
like any match content on any device because that means it's processing. Okay, if you get a sucky TV, that means you're like, okay, my TV's not great. I'm gonna let Apple TV do the work. But if you have great TV, just pass through a pure signal. That way, the TV is gonna do a better job than the Apple normally. And now it looks terrible. Then you go the other way, right? But yeah, I haven't seen any TVs that I've had that had an improvement. But you know, get a TCL 4 series. Okay.
You don't want to get that Apple TV if you want to get YouTube TV, because it does not work. They don't work well together, and everyone has issues with like sports and stuff flickering. It like and any TV.
Terrible.
So like at the bottom, like all the logos and like the sports scores and stuff just constantly flicker. It's just super annoying. It's done it on LG, Sony's, every TV that I've had. Those have been doing it. Do you have that issue, KG, or not?
I don't have YouTube TV.
Oh, there you go.
I don't have it either. Where
I have Direct TV.
Time to watch all
I'm still getting scammed.
Man? Yeah. Hey, I want to address this. Is a good question. Arctic Thunder says, "Hey guys, I know this is off topic. Not off topic. Why did TCL disappear?" TCL is definitely on topic because they are a TV maker and they haven't disappeared. It's just they haven't announced their USA launches yet. So in Europe, they're actually launching and releasing the 9 series or 900 series, 800 series. What's happening everywhere else? For whatever reason, we're not getting the release dates yet. Normally, they release maybe early summer, midsummer, or even early fall, depending on the model. We're waiting for the 8 series for sure. That's very exciting. We're hoping for a 6 series refresh if it happens. And they have this 8K TV that they've released already, which I think is a little expensive. And then have a 97-inch TV that they released as well. So it's nothing mind-blowing until the 8 series. The 8 series is going to be mind-blowing for one reason. TrueCut will be implemented on it, and then we'll see if it actually works as promised. That's why I'm excited. I think TrueCut is waiting for some of their platform streaming partners to be official. Then maybe when they launch the TCL 8 series, they could have a platform partner announcement as well. That's my theory. Why you haven't heard TrueCut yet, but for sure TrueCut will be on the TCL 8 series. So it's coming, just we don't know when.
Yeah,
I think that 8 series is going to be great, man. I'm telling you, that 4K 8 series TV is going to be awesome.
It's going to have 1,000 dimming zones, man.
I mean, I saw it at CES. At CES, it looked as good as like a Samsung QLED as far as the. Again, you can't, you can never tell because it's in a brighter room and you're like, oh, now in the dark room, it looks like crap. But it looked really, really good. We were standing like almost on the side of the TV and you could see no fall off in the dimming, like the dimming zone held up,
Yeah.
Here we have one of the rare ones, Leo. I know you're regular, but I'm going to have to put this up because you're one of the few that love the LG QNED. I am going to get the QN99 8K 2022. When it releases on June 22nd, this year we'll have more contrast, brighter, and new 8K processor. So this...
We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot, but
I'm not arguing.
I'm not expecting it.
I heard all they did was nothing. It's the exact same TV as last year. That's what I heard. But when it releases, maybe LG will say they did something different. I don't know if it's improved in any way at all. But prove me wrong.
Does it have the A9 Gen 5?
That's the question.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, if it does, then who knows? Because I mean, it had the zone count last year. Just didn't know what to do with them.
Did not.
But then the IPS panel was the other thing, though. You know,
Yeah, off angle.
and
I mean,
Yeah, but
I'll go to a
like,
store and I'll look at it, and then I'll
So-
decide. I'm not gonna buy it.
the IPS thing is, you can get around that. Like Samsung proved you can get around that. So if they can get like their dimming algorithm to be a little bit more tighter, and they can do some things with the picture quality, you never know. I
think
don't
we
like
start-
to write
I mean,
them off though.
I've
never-
always
never.
thought that LG like Q or whatever Nano, all their IPS TVs have always just looked very muddy to me. Like this, like the there's a lot of uniformity issues. Just not very bright or good looking. I don't know. I've never really liked them, and I have no problem with them. It's just every time I would go install a TV that was like LG QNET or Nano or whatever, I'm just like, ugh.
and it's crazy
Yeah.
because on the monitor side, that's what everyone wants is a nano IPS.
Right.
Like they're the best monitors.
Yeah, so like I think Sony and LG on the LCD side of things, I haven't seen a really good LCD from either of those companies since like the 940, 930, something like that. So
Huh?
yeah, they both struggle in LCDs lately.
Yeah, man.
The thing is, LG Electronics has invested so much into OLED. They do want you to buy an OLED, but that means all the resources, all their science, all of their research is in the OLED. I don't know who's handling the QNET, if anyone at LG at all. It could be like third party and they outsourced it, because it feels like the QNET 99 didn't get the love that the OLED gets. And so I normally follow where a company puts its resources. All the marketing is on the OLED. That means all the resources to get people to look, hey, look at me. And Samsung, all the marketing is on their not QD-OLED, QLED. So all the resources is invested in making QLED as good as OLED. LG has never tried to make their LCD TVs as good as OLED.
This is the thing. This is it. Conspiracy theory.
Yes.
They are intentionally making it bad because they're in all the big brains are in one room and they're like, okay, we sell so many OLEDs, we can just chuck like $10 million in shitty LCD TVs and everyone will buy them and then they'll hate them and then they'll buy an OLED anyway. So that's what it is. They're just they're intentionally making crappy TVs so that they can sell OLEDs.
Hey, don't take our word for it. Go on ratings. Look at the relative scores of all of LG's LCD. It's consistently, on average, lower across the board than the Samsung and the Sony TVs.
Didn't the QNET 99 not even get an 8.0? Wasn't it like a 7 point something? And that should just tell you.
On Best Buy, it's ugly. You go on Best Buy's star rating. Oh man, it's just people did not like it. Hey Herb, thank you for that super chat. Is G2 worth 1,000 more than the C2? I don't wall mount. No. No.
I think the C2 looks better on the stand anyway. So, I mean, quality wise, there may be a debate if it's better, but I'm just saying, like, I think the C2 looks better anyways on a stand. But I don't have either one of those right now. But
this is a great question, Jonathan. I have a C1 and 80J, so he's an OLED man, but now looking for a TV for a really bright room. No gaming, TVs and movies. Thoughts? You're used to OLED blacks. Get a QN90B. Don't look back. It will give you very similar OLED blacks. And in a bright room, you're not even going to notice the blooming. So good. Right?
For me, at this point, the OLEDs have come down in price so much that your mid-level premium range is just going to be OLED. But if you are looking at an LCD, to me, the only one that's viable is the QN90B. Like, that's it.
Oh, wait. We have someone on the bat phone here. Hey, Brian, want a live stream? Are you coming on?
Oh no, I'm actually filming the A80K.
All right. So while here listening to you live, so let me.
Oh, nice.
Hey, say hello to everyone.
Oh,
what's up?
Hey, what's up? Ask him this.
The A80K versus the S95B, and then the A80K gaming, and the A80K versus the A80J.
All right.
Nice.
Hey, speaking of gaming, we didn't announce this yet, so we're gonna make Friday of the shootout. So the shootout's coming up on the 9th. I think on the 8th, July 8th, Friday will be the gaming first ever King of Gaming TV shootout. It'll be Brian, myself, and Classy, and anyone else who wants to do this on Friday. We're gonna run a day-long live stream, and we're gonna have fun with it because you know what? What's gonna happen when you have a gaming TV shootout with the best TVs out there? So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It'll be the first, and we'll see. So we're still putting it together, guys, and hopefully you guys can all make it. All right, I'll call you later, Brian.
I was gonna say you should have asked him about if the A80K is glossy or semi-gloss. We need to get to the bottom of this.
He talked about it on the video, and
okay.
Like, I mean, it's not matte. That's the thing that people get thrown off because
matte is different.
It's definitely not matte. It's the semi-gloss. It is.
So it's the same as the 55 and 65 last year.
It looks fine. It wasn't that big of a difference. I mean, it was like a 9.3 to a 9.0 on ratings as far as like the anti-reflective properties. But like the matte for like the Samsung frame, which is completely matte, that got like an 8.3. So it's still a solid anti-reflective. And it doesn't, and I don't think it doesn't look better in any content to me. It looks a little bit worse in every content. That's what I thought. Or in every lighting situation, just a little worse.
And we got a tip jar, and Francisco Diaz
pulled
it up with one super chat. Thank you, Francisco Diaz, for that.
Slurpees.
Yes, he says, I would like to thank you all for everything and helping me buy a TV this year. That's what we're here for. Here is a tip for you guys. Have a beer, wine, or Slurpee on me. That's an expensive Slurpee. Yeah. If we go to New York City, that's it. That will probably be the price of a Slurpee. I'm going with an A90J 83-inch soon. Congratulations. Excellent TV. Thanks. Keep up the good work. Good choice, Francisco. Thank you for being there. And we're still here if you have any questions. Let's see. Well,
thanks, Francisco. Very nice of you, man.
Well, TCL Top Dog this fall. Until TCL says anything about their TV, I assume they're not going to release anything. At this point, I haven't heard anything yet, although we do know they're supposed to release something. Mum's the word. We'll find out.
I don't hear about TCL and Hisense till like July.
I got an email, but I don't think anything was like not for disclosure, but just said that they're working on big TVs. You know, they're excited to launch more big TVs. You know,
like last year they're gonna make you bring that XL home again.
This year, I decided I actually want it. Last year, the problem is that I had no room for that TV. Our house was so small. Like the living room, when we lifted the box, it like hit the ceiling before we even got it off the TV. So the thing was huge. I mean, you could take it apart too, but you know. This year we have like really tall ceilings, more space. So I already said I would go get one. So I'm trying to get a better one this year, but I'll go up there. It's nice to see the people up at TCL. They're cool.
I need to work out more before I start hanging up anything larger than 65-inch. And Leo 7 on fire. He's done the research. Sounds exciting, Leo. You got to let us know because I have to say I'm biased against LG non-OLED TVs only because I just can't see them making it awesome. But prove me wrong. Hey, Sergio, thank you for that super chat. Hi, best Sony non-OLED, y'all recommend for a 55-inch. No, there is no good Sony non-OLED at 55-inch. It starts at the 65-inch.
Okay, they don't have the X95K. Yeah, I mean that's what I would say. Obviously,
that's the problem. It's the X90K and the 55-inch.
It's still good for most people, though. You know, most people would consider it a good TV. It's like we're thinking like top end TV.
True.
Most people would consider it a good TV.
Okay, so let's do this. If you do mainly YouTube and Netflix, get yourself a 55-inch X90J, maybe, because the X90K is going to be quite expensive on release. Right? What do you guys think?
Isn't that still 600-700 nits for like SDR content for those, or not? I mean, isn't it for an X90J? Aren't they
just under 1,000 nits? But yeah, it's enough. I
mean, that's really bright for like just YouTube TV and Netflix.
Brian actually has an X90K. So you know what, Sergio? Brian is testing his X90K. I think he's getting it sometime this month. Definitely early June or something like that. Hang out. And let's find out what the X90K is like. I don't want to blindly recommend the X90K until I've heard some early reviews. But at 55 inches, your choices are really the X90J or the X90K at this point, or the X80J or the X85Js. But yeah, as far as the best non-OLED, wait a bit for Sony to start releasing it to all the reviewers. You guys have any?
The X90J currently like under $800. I mean, I don't know if the K is going to be that much better to be worth double the price.
Yes, that's the fear.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome, Leo. Because we gave QNED99 some airtime, you deserve it. Hey, how long do we have you guys? It's 4 o'clock. What's your time looking like, everyone? Well, all right, we'll hang out a little bit longer.
Did you ever
to a movie
talk about your topic?
The HDR
for the stream.
You know what's funny?
Let's get into that.
You know
I watched that video.
We actually didn't really, and normally FOMO just like goes hardcore for the first half an hour.
That's right. Let's get
and I'm sitting here like, I'll just chat with people and all that. And today he just went straight into questions, and I was like, hey, I didn't even.
HDR accuracy. So if you guys caught my video that led up to this live stream, they all left by now, right? But no one asked about it, so
it's all good. Hey, we'll just I'll make a little I'll make one little chapter, and that's like HDR accuracy starts at an hour and a half in.
And I'll tell you where it came from. And people ask, well, is this in response to Vincent Till? Actually, it isn't. It actually is in response to other reviewers, and these reviewers are not like malicious or anything. It's just I got triggered when I heard two people now, and they're respected TV journalists / reviewers, and they said, what did they say? Something on the lines of, it was in the context of the S95B, and it was very clear. They said, I prefer color accuracy over whatever S95B. And I kept on going, but you all calibrate your TVs. Once calibrated, it is so close. Now, what separates them is the brightness. You're willing to give up. So I was thinking maybe they're just talking about SDR. They cannot be possibly talking about HDR and then say the S95B is not accurate enough for HDR. And based on that assumption, I wanted to have a balance. And again, this is definitely not Vincent Till, because he never took that blanket position. But there are some out there that do like, this is color accurate. I would never consider this. And and this is the context of the S95B. So bringing this out, and we're not talking about just this year's QD-OLED. In the future, we're going to have these new technologies that will push brightness and color volume, but may give up a little bit of color accuracy. And what inspired this video was I had dinner with Chris Deering, right? He does projector reviews for Sound and Vision. And he gave me so much context. He's been doing this for decades. And he says, you guys know that back in the old days, anything that was a delta E of 3 was considered hardcore accurate. Then it went down to 1. And now if it's not less than a certain 0.0%, it's not accurate. He goes, where the heck did this come from? Your TVs are so accurate when you get below 3 that you're not going to notice the difference. And now they're just beating each other up over these 1%, 2%, 3%. So the S95B, let's say mine in particular, within 1%, all the colors, red is like 3%, but then the brightness is great. I'll take that all day long. And most consumers will. But others are still focused on the fact that it cannot get that way after calibration. Now, pre-calibration, I agree. The Samsung does need help. According to D-Nice, it is the untamed animal. You don't know what you're going to get. Some TVs out of the box are terribly inaccurate. Some out of the box are pretty good. You don't know. But I'm assuming that you go in there and get some rough calibration in. I think it'll give you a more accurate HDR experience based on the content that is HDR bright and so forth. And just to end this, I spoke to Stacy Spears. I said, hey, Stacy, we're going to be at the shootout. If I can't get a reference monitor to hit 4,000 nits that your content demands, is there a way to judge it without the reference monitor and just talk about, hey, this looks like it has impact? And he's like, it's impossible because it looks nothing like what I would grade at 4,000 nits. You have to get a 4,000 nit reference monitor. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. I mean, you guys saw you want, you're just subjective at this point. There is no creator's intent. Don't even bother with that. And that what it ends up being is people who, it's my impression. I liked it this way. This is how I like it. If you buy this TV, this is my review. You like it because I like it. I assume you like it the way I like it. And that's how it ends. But then to hang your hat on the word accuracy, suddenly it implies there's a standard for HDR, which there is. But if the TV cannot get to that standard or even close to it, then where are you, right? And then you have a TV that gets closer but loses somewhere else. Where is that? So that's kind of my little thing. The video wasn't that rantful. It was a bit more balanced, but deep inside, that's how I feel. But what are your thoughts? I know, Classy, you calibrate TVs and KG. You have your opinions on how these TVs should look. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the one that's been trying to get that ball rolling for a while about pushing HDR as far as possible to see what actually separates the TVs. And that's why I was talking with you and trying to arrange with Stacy and Jason and Joel and get some changes in the way HDR is tested, because a lot of it comes down to tone mapping and the different tone mapping abilities of the TVs. And would the creator prefer everything just gets clipped beyond a certain point and just turns bright and you don't see the detail? Or do they want it compressed more where it makes it less bright, but you see more detail? And without having a 4,000 or 5,000 nit reference monitor, some of these 4,000 nit movies, you just can't know unless you're watching it on that. And that's why, like I said, I was trying to start talking with you and trying to get that things in place to talk to the right people. It's going to take some time, but work on new ways of testing HDR. Because, I mean, no TV is going to be perfectly accurate in HDR. It's just how close can it get? And there's so many different aspects. There's luminance aspects, there's tone mapping, there's color luminance, there's color saturation. No TV is going to do it all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why I like the S95B so much, is because it is the most capable of HDR so far that we've seen from a TV, and you get the contrast with it. So like before, you could look at something like the QN90B and say, yeah, that's really good for HDR, but you'll still lack that contrast, that full contrast that you can get from an OLED. But when you can mix those two things, I think we're getting closer and closer to getting HDR the way that we hoped for it. And yeah, if you can push the TV to get the best HDR possible, I don't think that's a problem. And the thing about the creator's intent, it's like it goes back to what you're saying, like you will never know unless you have a 4,000 nit reference monitor or whatever for certain content. So yeah, it's a lot of it is subjective, because it's just going to rely on what's going on with the TV itself. And some TVs can't even get to that ability to push HDR the way that most people would want. So I was talking to Classy about this yesterday. It's like the HDR is kind of the Wild West right now.
Totally Wild West.
Yeah.
Now, this kind of brings up this question. So where does this put Dolby Vision, which is another, it is rife with disagreement, confusion, and a little bit of misinformation, because Samsung doesn't have Dolby Vision. Why doesn't it have Dolby Vision? What's wrong with Dolby Vision? Or maybe it's just cheap. They don't want Dolby Vision. Where does this put Dolby Vision? Personally, I don't think Dolby Vision is that big of a deal. It doesn't put it anywhere. It's kind of like when you buy a receiver, it has all these checkboxes, right? DTSX, DTXY, Z, ABC. Ultimately, you turn it on, whatever it is, it sounds great. You don't even know what codec it is at some point, right? Dolby Vision, I don't think is such a improvement over HDR10 where I'm going, the Sony has Dolby Vision, that's why I'm buying it. But rather, oh, it's got Dolby Vision, cool. But it would not influence my decision not to get a Samsung flagship TV. So that's where I'm on with Dolby Vision. It doesn't influence my decision. If it's there, great. If it isn't, doesn't matter. What are your guys' position on Dolby Vision?
Same. I have the same thing as you. Like there's just some TVs can't handle it that have it, and other TVs don't have it and look fantastic. So it doesn't really make me. I mean, I'm glad that my Sony TVs have it because they're good TVs, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say the more premium TVs don't have a need for it. Its biggest advantage is in the $400 or $500 faux HDR TVs trying to display an HDR signal. So it helps those more than anything else. But it also just depends on the implementation from the brand. Like Sony just does not do Dolby Vision well. LG does a little better, but with calibration it could be made closer to where it should be. And then because there's more control that you can do by changing the config file on LGs. But for the most part, the content that actually takes advantage of what Dolby Vision offers is few and far between.
Yeah. Classy, that cat just jumped out of your TV. It looked hilarious, dude. I mean, honestly, it looked like it flew out of that TV. I thought for a second it was an animal on the TV, and then it just like jumped over your shoulder.
Oh, that's just crazy.
I was thinking about like what Samsung does out of the box and what they've been doing for like the last, I don't know, for as long as I can remember, like for the last 5-6 years. They purposely push that EOTF up to overbrighten the picture because they think that people want to see an overbrightened HDR. They want people to see the brightest HDR possible. And so a lot of people don't like this. And that's one of the things that I think Vincent has been fighting Samsung on for like years and years and trying to get them to push it down. I can't remember. The QN90B actually tracked, right? Classy, you measured the QN90B. Did it track? It didn't track? Okay.
Samsung's being Samsung.
Yeah, so there you go. So none of their TVs track out of the box. So that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And like you've always had to play with the ST2084 to bring it down just to get out of that over brightened look. So if you're trying to play more of an atmospheric game, or if you're trying to watch something more atmospheric like a movie, you always brought down that ST2084. So that's nothing new, right? And I think Samsung's going to continue to do that because that's probably what they hear out of their focus groups and things like that.
Well, and remember, they're the #1 selling TV in the world across the board, like almost all of their models and so forth, because they know people just kind of like bright things. And now, not to say that that's preferred or accurate, because if you calibrate a Samsung, you can get it close enough where it's not terrible, in my opinion. I think it looks phenomenal because I watch HDR. But yeah, I mean, if it's too pushed, it does look weird, obviously. Thank you, Brammer Hammer, for the super chat. Went to Best Buy, saw the S95B easily beat every TV there. It wasn't even close within that environment. We'll wait for a bigger size next year. You know, I'd love to see is, because S95B is in store demo mode, I wonder if it'll be burning on that thing at the end of the year, right? Because that thing gets pretty bright.
That's one of the ones you don't want to buy open box later on.
Hey, Manuel, this is a great question. Are you guys planning to review the QN95B? Personally, because I don't game seriously enough to justify 144 hertz TV, and console doesn't matter, right? So if you're a PC gamer and 144 hertz matters to you and you want to see FreeSync Premium Pro does better on the QN95B with a 144 hertz panel, that would be great. But I don't have enough of that niche to justify getting a Q95B and a Q90B, so I'm not going to do it. How about you guys?
I think that this is a TV that I'm excited for because I really like the QN90B, and if they have an 85-inch with the One Connect box, and it's the new One Connect box, 4 HDMI ports, and I don't have to put any shit on the wall besides just the one wire, I'm stoked. Like this could be a great TV because it's probably going to be about half the price of the 8K, or I mean, at least maybe 70% of the 8K. So the QN900B is going to be isn't like $8,000 for an 85-inch. So they're crazy expensive. I want to get that one for sure.
These are going to be crazy expensive too. From what I'm seeing so far, like the QN95B, like that's what a lot of people are really excited for because of that One Connect box. The only way you can get a One Connect box right now in the States is either get a frame or get an 8K TV. And that's like a deal breaker because some people still have like Q7 FNs on their and Q8 FN, Q9 FN. They all had One Connect boxes. Yeah. And they all have that. They're used to that on their setup. So if they want to upgrade,
I love the Q90R for that reason. Yep.
So if they want to upgrade, like they don't want to go away from that One Connect box. So now this is the perfect TV for them to upgrade from if they want to.
I definitely like it for sure. And just jumping here, hey, Shango, pass remote. What is that device behind you, FOMO? It looks like a tricorder. So I have 2 devices behind me, or 3. This one is my
audio.
This is my baby face interface that connects to my Mac. This is the Vera Audio amplifier P400. It drives my 2 speakers. So one of the speakers you see over there is the Perlisten S4B. That's it. That's what you see.
I think he's talking about the one that's glowing and making all the. It looks like it's a toy from like a Star Wars movie.
Oh right, yeah. This is the RME Baby
beep, 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 beep.
Pro.
Yeah.
It's got and you put lights in the background. It always looks cool on live streams.
Yeah, it does look cool, right? You can see the.
John has got a good setup. He's got all his like little glitter lights and fairy lights and stuff. He's got a pretty cool setup like that.
Yeah.
I tried, but putting stuff in the background back there on that wall. They're like tiny. I'd have to get like a 10-foot neon sign back there to like make it look cool.
Oh, wait. Let's take some constructive criticism. Hey, FOMO, hope you take this feedback in a constructive manner, but the stream is almost sounding like a monologue with negligible participation from others, especially branded. Spread the wealth.
It's all right. I think he's probably talking about the HDR thing, but you were explaining
Oh,
your
right. That
video.
was my
So it's
monologue.
like,
Right.
I mean, it's all good. We get ours in, man. I'm cool. I'm chilling. I was just checking my messages on my phone and whatnot.
This is what I was going to say is when I'm on a stream, I hope other people talk so that I can chat. That's how I do it. Now on my own stream, I assume that people like chatting, but please, if you guys want to say anything, just say, hey, I got something to say.
We're all pros at this, man. We know we can jump in when we need to.
Please. We're just hanging out. That's all it is for me now. Yeah. It's like I just hop in to hang out.
Yeah, really. I think most people would disagree with that comment, but I also appreciate the comments. All good. No hate, no worries. I'll try to talk more.
Rod Lowe.
I've never been told that I've talked less before. I'm like, normally it's like shut up, you know.
Right. Rod Lowe. Honestly, the average person do not care about color accuracy. Me and 95% of the people probably will never get a TV calibrated. You're correct, Rod Lowe. So that's why a lot of people get Sony's, right? Out of the box, it's close to accuracy, but do they even notice that? So let me throw it to you guys. You guys notice the color accuracy out of the box? Like, so I know obviously Classy now notices it because he's a calibrator, but before the days of calibration, the three of you, do you notice when you get a Samsung, whoa, that's a Samsung?
Now, I think the only TV that I really noticed that was really off was like a Hisense, the H9G I got, which was like green as shit. It was so green. And so it was like, it just looked stupid in every video I shot because it was like not even close, you know? I don't know. I mean, what is the first like thing in calibration, Classy? Like white balance, I guess, would be your most basic thing. Like white balance would be like minimal.
That's what sticks out the most, at least to me anyway, is if the white's off and then skin tones are off.
Right.
Especially if it leans on green. Like that's the problem with the X95K is Dolby Vision Sony does this Dolby Vision white point offset thing. And on the X95K, it ends up pushing a lot of green. And I noticed that on their other LCDs as well. So, you know, that's stuff that just really sticks out.
And I said that, and Matt's in the chat, so I can see, because like that's what Matt and I chat about back in the day, like, you know, or like, you know, last year, it'd be like at least get the white balance close as possible, and then other things kind of
shadow detail, clipping, things like that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say like pretty standard stuff really sticks out the most.
Yeah, I was talking to you yesterday about this when we were talking about HDR and color in general. When people think about color accuracy and when people talk about color accuracy, they're usually talking about SDR. And that goes back to your video today. And then like if you look at the HDR color for Sony out of the box, like Classy and I were talking about this, it's not that accurate. Like some of the stuff is really undersaturated, and it looks that way too. And then for the LG, it's not that accurate either. Like the reds are super oversaturated, you know, and like that's one of the things, like it's always going to reflect back to SDR. But I don't think how many people are really watching SDR with these brand new TVs, you know, like I'm sure you guys watch some SDR, but you're going to want the majority of the content you watch to be HDR, especially when you're watching those new movies or series, you know, on the streaming services. So
hold on one sec, I'll be right back.
All right. Hey, Zach, thank you for that super chat. Do you guys think the 83-inch G2 is worth it over the 77-inch G2? That is a good question, but I would say no. You're paying a premium because it's 83. It will definitely start dropping in price in future years. But if you need 83, get the C2. That would be, or the C1. What are you guys' thoughts? Not so much is the 83 G2 worth it over the 77 G2. How about 83 C1, 83 C2 versus the 77 G2? What do you guys think?
For me personally, the G2 really sticks out above the rest because of what it's capable of and different, like, I mean, I understand most people aren't going to go the accuracy way. Because if you do, and if you watch stuff in accurate modes, then they look basically the same. Just minor differences here and there. But the G2, when you're not doing that and then you use some of the features that it has, is where it gets brighter than any of the other OLEDs. So a lot of people will really like the 77 G2, especially since that one is all the new technology, the newest panel, the newest everything. The 83 is worth if you need that bit extra in the size. So that's what I did. I wanted to fill my space. I had 77 last year. I wanted the size upgrade. It's not a tremendous difference, but it's enough that if you are willing to pay the premium, you'll feel it's worth it. But if you're not, if you're trying to be budget conscious, then just go for the 77.
Good answer.
But it's like hard when you have this 83 is available and then like 77, but there's an 83.
Yes.
No, I'm glad I didn't have the option with the 77 A90J. So there you go.
If you've never had an OLED, Zach, a C183 inch will blow your mind. If you're going from a previous OLED and you know the differences, and you might want to stay with a G2 for what you need, but can you afford it? If you can, go with 83 G2 because it's not worth it if you can't afford it.
And we may or may not get small discounts on TVs that make it a little easier for us. Allegedly, maybe. But yeah, that makes it a little easier, right? I mean, we do get some discounts from people. So because we're reviewers and that, get the hookup. Got to get the hookup.
I don't know what discounts you're talking about.
You don't know. I mean, I can help you, you know. So.
Yeah. And I like, for me at this point, C1, C2, A80, like J80K, to me, they all just kind of sit here together. A90J is a little bit higher. And then for me, the G2 just goes even a little bit further than the A90J. And that's why for me, it's either stick with the main one for the C1, C2, A80J, A80K for budget, or just go straight to the G2 if you really want the top of the WRGB OLEDs.
You guys nailed it. He has the 77-inch too. He wants the 83. You're gonna kill yourself, Zach. Just get the 83. I mean, this is where you are, right? He's gonna see Classy's 83-inch G2 back there, and every time you see those dolphins, you're like, I should have got the 83.
Wait, he just said too. He's 12 feet away. Get the 83.
Yes, please.
But then you also might get it and be like, oh, damn, I paid an extra. How much is it? Like $1,500 or $2,000, and I only got 6 more inches. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, for me, 10 feet was like the cutoff at 77.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is an interesting comment. The S95B. Hey, I just got S95B. Love the TV. I'm noticing pinkish tints on lights. I think. Is that normal? I'm coming from a C9. You're gonna see that on WOLEDs. Also, but the S95B, I didn't notice it on mine. But
I didn't notice it. No,
classic.
I think it
because we haven't.
I haven't seen it. I think it looks quite white,
yeah,
quite nice.
It's actually closer to real D65 out of the box, so it's going to appear a little more red or pinkish, but it's supposed to, like, that's how D65 looks. It actually is more white. It's just going to take your brain a little bit to get used to. In 2 weeks you'll not notice it anymore.
Yeah, Classy. This is what I was fighting with. Like, remember, I was like, "Hey, some stuff looks red. Why?" And then you're like, "Oh, that's probably why." And explained it to me, and I got used to it.
Hey, that means it's accurate, right? Magician just confirmed. S95B. If you're at D65, it's pink. D9 confirmed.
Or wait, it says at D65 is pink.
Is pink.
Yeah. So there's metamerism in it. It's right now. There's this back and forth about how much more it is affected than the WRGB OLEDs. Sammy thinks it looks really close to D65. D-Nice uses different stuff to match. He uses plasma. So there's different opinions. And at some point, whenever we can get D-Nice on, we're all going to have another white point stream discussion. But at least out of the box, the S95B is going to be a closer white than an LG OLED out of the box typically. The new, like the G2, is actually close to D65 as well. But previously, LG has been using this more like bluish point.
That's something that many of you don't know. first of all, D65, arguing over the difference in D65.
Yeah.
This is definitely a Calibrator's live stream. I cannot wait.
My head might explode if I watch it.
I know, right? Okay, so we're at the 2
In a
hour
good
mark.
way. In a good way.
Thank you. We're at the 2 hour mark. You guys want to go another 5 minutes, wrap up, tell us what you're doing next week? Sounds
Yeah.
good?
Yep.
All right, so let's start with you, KG. What's happening in your channel? Tech with KG, right? What's happening? Share.
Yeah, actually, right after the stream, maybe like 15, 25 minutes after, we're going to do a S95B G2 kind of live comparison, mess around with some stuff. So should be fun. Stop by if you guys are available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Classy, what's happening in your world? Anything fun?
My X95K review just finished uploading. I'm debating if I'm going to make it live tonight or just do it in the morning. And then I'll have a X95K settings video, and then that's it for that TV.
All right. All right. And we have Brandon and his 2 channels, TVs, right?
Yeah.
Be the installer and then be the consumer. What's happening in your world?
Well, we did the Samsung frame installation video. It's kind of like the token video I have to do. It's what I started doing in YouTube. So it's one of those videos that not everybody loves, but for some reason just gets like 1,000 views a day for the entire year. So it's like, it's worth it. You know,
I'm going to have to do that now.
a slow burner, you know,
the token video, right? Is the frame the best TV ever? Just let it ride.
and I'm doing a frame video next weekend, but my editor actually got COVID. So like Tuesday,
Oh.
so Wednesday morning, he's been gone since Wednesday. So we basically got the next 2-week videos done, but I got to start getting more stuff for the Be the Consumer because you just got monetized. And so you just got to, I'm trying to find some cool electronics that have just come out. And so I want to get the XM5 headphones, but Sony didn't respond fast enough. So I'm like, come on, man,
Come on.
got to hook it up. So I'm going to get some other things out there. You know, the next round of phones and electronics, I'm going to start reviewing like the next Samsung and next iPhone and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So
That sounds like a lot of fun. And I'll be getting the QN90B on Monday. So, hopefully,
awesome.
well, I have to spend the rest of today and tomorrow assembling my next double stand so I could have 3 stands. Right now, I only have 2. I have to add another one so I can have 3, so 6. That's it. No more. I draw the line at 6 TVs. That's it. There's no more room. So, so we'll have the QN90B versus the QN90A, and you guys can see. I'll do a quick live stream unboxing and first impressions, and we're only going to look at the blooming control because that's what you could do out of the box. We're not going to talk about color accuracy or anything like that. So, but I would definitely want to see the improvements over the QN90A that you guys have noticed. I'm very excited about the specular highlights actually because we'll have the A90J and the X95K as well. So it'll be a 4-way, the A90J being the OLED representative, and we'll see. Hopefully, the QN90B kicks butt. All right, everyone.
Cool, man.
Thank you for coming by, all of you, and thank you, everyone, for listening and putting up with my monologue.
Oh, stop.
Until next week, let's see. Next week is Memorial Day, right?
Next Friday, we're doing the ratings.com.
Yes, next Friday. So
Cedric
join
and
us.
Jason will be with us.
Ratings is coming by. We're going to talk about how can we help them improve their reviews or add more layers to their reviews. What are they missing? What don't you like about the reviews? They want to hear from you.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to them next Friday at
Questions.
5 p.m. Eastern time, 2
Yeah.
p.m. Right? So
Yeah.
come on by, be nice, be polite, and we'll see y'all there. Until next time, pass remote.